So when we started looking at the product and finding kind of how to focus and how to, what are the key kind of concept elements that we wanted to choose for this product, we looked at 4 different areas. And one, first of all, being an SUV, I know Gary talked a lot about the design. It's kind of that bold and capable image of the car, right? It's still an SUV. We want it to be even though it's aerodynamically efficient, we want it to have a nice kind of presence as all SUVs have and should have. From the interior, Gary talked a little bit about that, but I'll go into some more detail on some of the specific features. But we want to bring some unique experience to that interior that are obviously a lot more easy to do when you have a dedicated EV platform. And then optimizing the EV capability, right? Just because the focus of this car is being a family SUV above first and foremost, it just happens to be an EV, and it happens to be a really great EV in that, given some of the capabilities that it has. And then the technology, right? Obviously, with every car in the market today, we want to bring some new features, some new capabilities into the car to kind of help make that experience as you're driving more enjoyable. So, we talked a little bit about the size of the car already. This is just a little bit more detail behind it. It's not the longest car in the competitive class, but it does have the longest wheelbase. And as you would expect, that translates into great interior space. So not just in the second row, but more importantly in the third row. So this is actually really great, really capable, really usable third row with great headroom and great leg room as well. So even though it has a nice aerodynamic silhouette and shape to the car, don't be surprised, or don't be, I guess, or hopefully you will be surprised that it does actually have some really great space in that third row. So even I'm 6'1", and I can comfortably go for a pretty long drive in the back of that car. From a seating configuration, I'll talk a little bit later about the different trims. So obviously we'll have 7-passenger and 6 passengers with captain's chairs as well on some of the different trims. And then this being a family SUV, obviously cargo is really important. We want to make sure on this car that not only when you have the third row down and you're only using 2 rows, you have really good space, but more importantly, when you're using all 3 rows, maximizing the passenger space, you actually have some really usable cargo space in the back. I actually spent the last 2 weeks or so driving this car, able to put 2 strollers in the back with a third row up, which is pretty good for a car this size. And for some of those, I know some of you love Boston bags. Fit a few of those in there as well. So being an EV, obviously cars are really quiet. I think we want to focus on bringing not just some traditional things like insulation and foam in the right areas, but also bring some technology to kind of help reduce the ambient noise inside the car. So this is the first Hyundai product. We've had this feature in some of our Genesis models, but the first one to have the active noise control road feature in the car that's similar to traditional noise cancellation in headphones, but actually has a few kind of additional elements. For example, some, in the wheel wells, we actually have vibration sensors that are kind of looking for that kind of harsh kind of cement, or I should say a concrete vibration that you get on freeways, and trying to counteract and offset that sound before it even gets translated into noise in the cabin. So you're looking at the vibration resonance before it actually becomes noise in the cabin itself, and trying to offset some of that. And then some traditional things, like I said, so the insulation and foam in the right places, sound-absorbing tires, as well as on this product, we actually standardized the first and second row acoustic glass, which kind of helps bring some, a little bit more quietness to the interior of the car. From a powertrain perspective, this car has, all trims will have the same battery size, so it's a 110.3 kilowatt-hour battery. The great thing about this is that on every single trim, we'll have above 300 miles, so all the way down to the calligraphy and limited trims with the more powerful all-wheel drive powertrain, we'll have above 300-mile AER. And as you can see here, we'll have 3 different versions of the car. The standard rear-wheel drive S trim, and then you move into a mid-range all-wheel drive version with still some pretty good performance and obviously, like I said, strong range results. All the way up to the calligraphy and limited that have the performance powertrain with dual 157.3 kilowatt motors. It's about 0 to 60, a little under 5 seconds, depending on how it's configured. And then from a charging performance, Ian will come up a little later, actually I think after this slide, talk a little bit more about some of the experiences behind it. But again, back to this eGMP platform, being able to deliver ultra-fast charging. And now with all our EVs moving forward, having the NACS port, we'll have access to the supercharger network that's out there, delivering obviously the flexibility in charging depending on network you choose, or the faster charging if you want to use the CCS chargers with an adapter that's included in the car. And then the rear-wheel drive trim, if you want that quick charge in about 15 minutes, get 150 miles of range. So even with that large battery, obviously that's the great benefit of this platform, is getting that quick charge for a short refill if you want to go on a quick trip. So with that, let me bring up Ian here, who's going to talk a few features on the car related to charging.
Thank you, Andre. And good morning, everyone. So my name is Ian Tupper. I'm the Senior Group Manager for Strategic Environmental Partnerships. And what that long title really means is taking everything that's historically and is currently a challenge with driving and owning an EV and transforming that into a reason for somebody to want to buy and live with an electric vehicle. And as Andre mentioned, we've been doing a lot of work around the charging experience. I'm going to start with something that's quite emblematic of that. And these are two pictures from earlier this year in February when a number of us were down in North Carolina for the IONA grand opening. Now, IONA, for those that don't know, is a joint venture between us and 7 other OEMs to build 30,000 charging stations by 2030. They're on track to have over 100 sites live and over 1,000 chargers live within this year, and are really excited for our vehicles that are, native NACS like IONIQ 9, as well as our existing UIO that currently have the units in, let's say, the units in the field that have CCS ports to be able to charge natively on these stations. But in addition to trying to tackle the large infrastructure problem, as Andre mentioned, we also have the NACS inlet on the vehicle. Our cars will be able to access over 45,000 DC fast chargers that are currently around the US, either with the native NACS on the Tesla Supercharger network or with the adapters that will come with the vehicles. We're also offering customers the choice of a complimentary level 2 charger, which they can get and have installed via the Hyundai Home platform, or a $400 charging credit that they'll be able to use on networks like ChargePoint, EVgo, IONA, and others around the country. Now, with this vehicle, we're taking the experience a step further, and it's also the first car that's connected to our new in-app charging platform. So now drivers can get rid of the other apps that they have, whether it's ChargePoint or EVgo or whatever, and find chargers, start charging sessions, pay for charging sessions, all within the convenience of our own mobile app. This is something we're rolling out for IONIQ 9, and also IONIQ 5 will be backwards compatible with this new feature. And then we're adding more EVs that are in market to this technology as well. It's all powered by our digital wallet, which we call Hyundai Pay, which you can use to pay for other services depending on other vehicles that you may own, like gas for some of our hybrid vehicles. But for charging, in-app charging, it's the underlying technology that enables secure payment, and really it's one of these things where we encourage you to set it up once and then forget about it. Once you put in your credit card, you never have to touch it again. And for IONIQ 9, we also have plug and charge. Again, it's using that same Hyundai Pay technology, but now you don't even need to use the app. If you know where the charger is, you can just drive up to it and plug it in, and it's as easy as that. It's currently available on IONA, Tesla, and ChargePoint, where those stations are plug and charge compatible. And we're really excited for this, as we know it's going to be a great experience and one of these things that EVs do better than ICE vehicles. That's not all. The IONIQ 9 is our first grid-connected EV. I think we talked a little bit about this when we first launched the vehicle. But what we're doing right now is all the work in the back end to connect our vehicles to the utility grid so that they can transform into, let's say, rolling batteries that can push energy back to the grid in addition to pull energy from the grid when charging at home. And so we're really rolling out 3 services with this: V1G, which is your smart charging, and rolling in existing utility programs by sharing data with the companies and getting special rates or discounts on your utility bills. Vehicle to home, where the car can actually back up your house during power outages, or can just power your home if you live in California, for example, and say you have high peak rates from 4 to 9 p.m. And then also vehicle to grid, where we can actually export power back to the grid during demand response events. This is all powered by a DC bidirectional charger that's going to be available as well through the Hyundai Home Marketplace and our network of trusted installers. And we'll have more information coming later in this year as we get closer to launch of all of these services. And with that, I'm going to bring Andre back.
So yeah, actually my favorite feature on that car is the vehicle to home capability. Parents live here in North Carolina. They just installed about a $10,000 home backup system. So this is kind of a nice way of getting it all with part of your car, I guess, in a way. So I talked a little bit earlier in the concept of the car. One of the elements of this was that kind of unique vehicle space experience. So there's a few features that I want to highlight here that are part of the interior of this IONIQ 9. The first is the relaxation seats. So you've seen this on the IONIQ 5 on the front row. IONIQ 9 has it on the front and second row as well. So that's the ability to kind of get those seats in almost a horizontal flat position. So when you're charging, you're waiting for kids sporting events, you can have a kind of a nice kind of lounge, relaxing experience in the car. And then our center console, the Universal Island 2.0, I know it's kind of a long name, but it's essentially a combination of the IONIQ 5 sliding console with the Santa Fe kind of dual hinge center console that we have. So you can open both, access the center console from the front as well as from the rear, and then slide it forward and back, depending if you want a little bit more space in the front row, or if you want the second row children to access what's in that second row kind of cubby area on the lower section. And then ergo motion seat. I think you've seen this on, I believe, Palisade for the PE a couple years ago was the first car to have this. This is kind of similar to massaging seats, but it has a little bit of intelligence to it, right? So it kind of has the ability to kind of, depending on the settings, for example, you can set it so that if you're on a long drive, it can kind of give you a little bit of a booster, or booster posture and help kind of your stature a little bit better in the seat. So it's closer to a traditional massage seat, but has a little bit of a kind of intelligence depending on how you set it up and use it. And then some of the other kind of highlighted features on the car. One is the 100-watt USB port. So this is going to be the first Hyundai product that we're going to bring this to. Obviously, with being an EV, you have a lot of charging capability, especially if you're using utility mode on the bottom right here that actually uses the drive battery when the car is parked to power accessories. Things like the 100-watt USB ports or the traditional V2L, vehicle to load, that we have in this model as well. You can power a lot of things inside the car at a really high rate. So things like laptops, or if you have a projector, or even I guess a portable hot tub if you're going camping. A lot of capability there from a charging perspective. And then some of my other favorite features, obviously Hyundai Digital Key, we've had obviously in quite a lot of products already. The really great flexibility in how you can access the car. Obviously with Digital Key 2 having ultra wideband and Bluetooth sensors, you can unlike that picture showing you don't actually have to touch the car, you can actually keep your phone in your pocket and approach it and utilize your phone or smartwatch to get in the car. And then obviously being an SUV, being a family car, we want to focus a little bit on kind of that experience of getting you somewhere, and then the adventure side of owning a product like this. So this is actually the first Hyundai product, actually, sorry, I should say second. The XRT IONIQ 5 was the first to have our terrain mode select function. So sand, mud, and snow function capabilities to kind of tune the drivetrain to those different terrain environments. Vehicle to L, or vehicle to load, I mentioned that earlier. So that's, we've had that on our other EVs. Obviously the ability to kind of use that drive battery to power accessories, both from the exterior port in the car, and in IONIQ 9, you have this kind of second port inside the car that's on the cargo area in the back. So again, if you're using it, to power things like, like I mentioned, a portable hot tub, for example, if you're camping, if you're glamping, I guess, would be a good use of that. And then obviously being a family SUV, we want to make sure it has really great towing capacity and towing capability as well. This car also has, as part of the kind of towing functionality to it, once you connect that trailer to it, it can automatically detect and estimate the weight of that trailer and kind of automatically adjust, for example, your distance to empty on your electric range of the car. From a multimedia perspective, this is a similar platform, I should say same platform that's on a lot of our recent launches. Our new internal name is CCIC platform, but it's featured by curved display with dual 12.3-inch screens. A lot of flexibility, a lot of really great animations, really fast graphics. We're introducing a few things on this car. You'll see, I believe these cars are connected to BlueLink, so test to see. I don't know if we talked earlier, we can make sure for the car that it's set up the right way. Our AI-driven voice recognition system that actually has a Hey Hyundai wake-up word, so that's actually on these cars as well. As well as obviously the things you would want and expect on an EV, like route planning and station search and all those related items are part of this as well. And then part of, a little bit to what Ian was saying, right? So, we're trying to kind of enhance the experience of owning this car. So not just from a charging side, but also from a life cycle ownership side of things. This is going to be the first vehicle where we're introducing our digital features and services capability. So if you think of this as obviously on-demand feature download capability. So things like, we're going to start with a few simple ones like cluster themes and welcome lighting, different, patterns or themes that you can choose to download. All of those will be part as well of our owner app, and you have essentially a marketplace for those things in the car. as well as Wi-Fi and music streaming. We've had that, I believe IONIQ 5, actually Santa Fe, I think was the first to have Wi-Fi streaming. We've also introduced with that some of the Wi-Fi hotspot capability. We've introduced as part of that as well the music streaming functionality, which for now we have Amazon Music and the SoundCloud as part of that functionality as well. We'll have a few other partners later on, I think later this year, if not early next year as well, to introduce as part of this. Ian mentioned, part of a lot of our charging capabilities requires Hyundai Pay, or that's our digital wallet. So that's something you've seen in some of our other products already. As Ian mentioned, the ability to kind of, obviously search and pay for charging in the case of an EV, or if you own a gasoline car for fueling stations as well, and parking depending on where you live. From a safety perspective, obviously always an important element of all of our cars. For IONIQ 9 being our flagship product, we actually standardized 13 of our ADAS Hyundai Smart Sense features, so both from a safety and convenience standpoint. So everything from forward collision avoidance, the highest level of it that has even evasive steering capability, all the way down to highway driving assist 2 with the lane changing assist capability of it, as well as our new forward attention warning, which you've seen in some of our products, which is that infrared camera in the car looking for eye position. So a lot of really great safety and convenience capability. And then as you move up to the different trims, of course, we add more functionality as well. And then continue on to that safety message. Being a family SUV, we want to make sure we're covered in all bases, 10 standard airbags. For the first time in a Hyundai product, we've had this on our sister Genesis products, is that center airbag, which comes out from the side of the driver's seat. And the idea is to protect the front occupants in the case of a side collision, right? So if you have two occupants in the front, maybe potentially from getting close to each other, or even if you're by yourself in the car, kind of keeping a nice kind of surround cocoon within the front driver's seat of the car with that center airbag on the right side of the driver's seat. And then from another element of this car, this is going to be the first HMG product, so across all three brands, to have a standard pre-tensioner low limiters on all 3 rows, standard on all trims. So again, adding that safety capability from even a basic thing like a seatbelt to the 3rd row as well. I mentioned a little bit about the trims earlier, so this is our different trims. We'll have 6 different variations of the car. There's only 5 here, but I'll talk a little bit later about calligraphy. Starting all the way, obviously, on the left side with the rear-wheel drive, as I mentioned earlier, the standard Smart Sense features, the standard, obviously rear-wheel drive powertrain with the highest range. As you move up the trims, SE is essentially the same content as the S model. Obviously, it moves into the all-wheel drive powertrain. And then as you move into SEL, you get a little bit more of that combination of technology, a little bit of premiumness and luxury with H-Tech seating and ambient lighting, as well as a few more of the Hyundai Smart Sense features. And then when you move into the Limited, obviously that's where the performance powertrain comes in of 422 horsepower. The captain's chairs are part of the Limited trim as well as obviously the larger wheels, which is similar to the wheels that are here on these calligraphy models that you'll drive today, and as well as some of the other technology features like digital key and the noise cancellation. And then calligraphy is similar to a lot of our other models. That's the ultimate expression of this car. A lot of premium elements, a lot of nice touch elements like the bio suede headliner. You'll have some unique design elements. You can see, I think we might have a few Limited trims here as well. So if you get them close to each other, it's very minor, but there's some small little details to the front and rear fascia of the car, giving you a little bit more of a cleaner premium feel to the calligraphy versus a little bit more of a capable look to the Limited and below trims on this model. And then I mentioned the reason why I said there's 6 different versions is because within calligraphy, there's an optional design trim, which a lot of the cars here outside are that have a turbine design 21-inch wheel as well as the matte paint. So that's kind of combined the 2 of those into that design trim. From a color perspective, we'll have 9 different colors. A few of them are actually kind of nice because they're unique for US market. And given the fact that this car is built here in Georgia, we're able to have some unique color choices here in the US that are actually shared with IONIQ 5. So in a way, we were able to bring some really, I think, really exciting colors for this product, like the Ultimate Red and the Cosmic Blue that are actually on the IONIQ 5 XRT. So those are some really nice kind of, get away from the grays, whites, and blacks that obviously every lineup has to have, but have a little bit of some nice the chromatic colors to the car. And then we'll have 3 different matte colors on this model as well. The bottom 2 are part of the design trim that I mentioned on calligraphy, the Sage Silver and the Gravity Gold. And then the Ecotronic Gray is only on Limited because we felt that paired a little bit better with more of a capable, a little bit more of a rugged image that the Limited has. From an interior color perspective, 3 different choices. You have your traditional black and gray, and then we'll have one that's a teal, similar to IONIQ 5, but obviously executed in a much more premium and different way. Some nice elements on calligraphy, like the aluminum trim on the dash, 2-tone steering wheel. Obviously, I mentioned earlier the bio-suede headliner, so a lot of that kind of brings some of the premium feel to the inside of that calligraphy trim. And, oh, there it goes. And pricing, we announced this, I think, about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. So starting all the way a little bit under $59,000 for the rear-wheel drive, all the way to just barely a little over $76,000 for the calligraphy design. So we want to keep the walks, between $3,000 to $4,000 max between each of the different trims to kind of have a nice progression all the way up to our top of the line. The images below are the calligraphy design trim that I was mentioning earlier. So with that, that's kind of the highlights of the car. Obviously, we're here most of the day, or all day, I should say, to if any questions. But as I mentioned, this car is all about having that really bold, capable exterior, that family-focused interior. Above all, it's a family SUV, even though it just happens to be a really great EV with that really great EV capability, great technology, and obviously, as you'll see in the plant today, American-made. A nice chance to walk through the line and see it being produced. So I'll hand it back.